Welcome to T-Mobile Tuesday Night Baseball, and we welcome you on a steamy summer night to Milwaukee, Wisconsin's Miller Park. Game 2 of this 3-game series between the Reds and the Milwaukee Brewers. The Brewers winning the opener here last night. Hi again, everybody, alongside Chris Welsh and Jim Day. I'm Tom Brenneman, delighted to have you with us here for Reds baseball and trying, and I mean trying to right the ship. After the great homestand before the break, the Reds have come out very flat the first 4 games of this second half.
Well, you can't be pressing too much if you're a Reds player right now, because all it makes you do is try to do too much at the plate. You've got to be yourself. You've got to do the little things. You've got to run the bases well, play solid defense, and they haven't done those things at all. And that really is magnified when you don't hit, and right now they have not hit. Look at the runners in scoring position, batting average. 1 for the last 28 since the All-Star break. That's not getting it done. That's one reason why the Reds are riding a long losing streak on the road right now.
And you see that 4.45 ERA. All year long, the Reds have been able to depend on great defense. They haven't done that the last 4 days. And great starting pitching. And that has been hard to come by outside of the Cueto start, but of course that was only a 5-inning start. They're leaning on Homer Bailey in a big way tonight.
Well, they are. He's had about a week and a half to get over a bum knee that he hurt his last time out. That was against the Chicago Cubs. But if you look before that, against 2 first-place ball clubs, he pitched outstanding baseball. Go back to one of the games that the Reds were in San Francisco. He nearly pitched a no-hitter in that ball game. Did not give up a run, a shutout overall for Homer Bailey then. And then against the Brewers on July the 5th, he went 8 innings of 1-run baseball. So he is capable. If his leg is all right, and hopefully it is, Homer Bailey will give the Reds exactly what they need tonight.
Meanwhile, his mound opponent, Reds getting a look at the youngster Jimmy Nelson.
Jimmy Nelson's a hard thrower, making only his major league start, number 3. And he's a guy that has completely dominated down in the Pacific Coast League. I mean, he was the strikeout leader, an earned run leader. He's got a hard fastball and a hard slider. The question is, early in the ball game, will the Reds make this guy throw strikes? Because he has had a history of not being able to find the strike zone early in games.
Look very dapper tonight.
It's Bow Tie Tuesday. I always invited you to come along, but maybe next time.
Have one.
Well, they sell them in the lobby of the hotel.
I'm out of cash.
Me too.
Jim Day talking about the Reds' power surge from an unlikely source against the Brewers this year.
Ford dealer. Ford, go further. By Cincinnati USA Regional Tourism Network. Stay close to CincinnatiUSA.com. By Skyline Chili. Feeling good? It's Skyline time. And brought to you by T-Mobile Tuesday Night Baseball. We are back in Wisconsin, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'm Jim Day on the field. There's a saying out there as Billy Hamilton goes, go the Reds. A lot of pressure to put on a 23-year-old rookie, but it is what it is. And unexpected power surge from Billy. He's got 6 home runs this season after a home run last night, tied for most of any of his professional seasons at any level. And the last 4 have come against Brewer pitching, so he likes to play against the Milwaukee Brewers, which leads us to our T-Mobile Game Changer segment. We talked about that saying, as Billy goes, go the Reds. Well, these numbers back it up. Look at the numbers in wins. 367 average. He scored 34 times, driven in 29, and stolen 29 of his 38 bases. In losses, below 200. Way below runs scored, 20 below in wins. Driven in only 10 and 9 stolen bases compared to 29 in victory. So indeed, it is what it is. The Reds need this 23-year-old rookie to set the table. Stopping the skid. The Reds have previously lost 4 games in the season. This season, the guy that stopped it, the guy on the mound tonight, Homer Bailey. Up next, Tom and Chris, Reds baseball.
Produced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Welcome back to Miller Park. The roof is wide open tonight. Much warmer, much more humid than it has been over the last couple of nights here in Milwaukee. Brian Price's starting lineup. His team trying to end a 4-game losing streak that matches their longest of the year. It's brought to you by Meyer. Hamilton, Schumacher at second, Frazier over at first. Bruce back in the lineup tonight. Ludwig in left field, and Pena, as you heard from Jim Day a moment ago, will catch. Homer Bailey. A louder third of Zach Cozart, Ramon Santiago, and Homer on the mound. And Reds getting a look at Jimmy Nelson making his 3rd major league start.
Actually, the Reds have had a pretty good look at Jimmy Nelson before when he was a high school senior in Niceville, Florida. The Reds drafted him. in the 39th round of the 2007 draft. He did not sign. He ended up going on to the University of Alabama. There he pitched for the Crimson Tide and pitched well enough to move up to the draft to the second round. And that's when the Brewers got him in 2010. A big power pitcher, 6 feet 6 inches tall, 245 pounds. And he's the kind of guy that you want to anchor your rotation with. He's got that type of a body. Hard thrower, hard breaking ball. The question is, where will that ball always go? Control problems sometimes, especially early in ball games.
All righty, here we go. Billy Hamilton to lead things off for the Reds. Hamilton 2 hits, including a home run last night. Looks at a first pitch strike, and we're underway. 6 home runs now for Hamilton. 39 runs batted in. He's a .281 batter. And behind 0-2. Well, earlier this season, it was a 4-game losing streak when the Reds were counting on Homer Bailey to end it. And he did just that, beating the Dodgers on that night at Great American Ballpark. Here's a pitch and a fastball away.
Now, you may notice Jonathan Lucroy behind the plate. We mentioned last night how softly he catches the ball, how quietly he moves behind the plate. With Nelson out there, he's pretty much going to give his sign right down the middle, saying, come on, just give it to me right here, without really moving around very much. And Nelson goes to the breaking ball and gets his first strikeout.
Take a look at Milwaukee defensively, presented by your Ford dealers. The only change from the lineup last night, they come in left and they come at first base. Chris Davis rather than Logan Schaefer in left. And the platoon pretty much going on all year long. Lyle Overbay and Mark Reynolds. Not a straight platoon. Left-handed batting Overbay. Did not start against the right-hander Matt Latos last night. Strike one to Schumacher. Schumacher had 2 hits in a game last night. Had 2 hits his first game back off the DL. Also drew a walk. That was in a series finale against the Yankees. Good fastball there at 95, and it's fouled out of play to the third base side. Nelson comes from an athletic family. His father played football, also threw the shot put at a discus at the University of Florida. His mother was a basketball player at Florida State University. But he decided, as you mentioned, Chris, to go play very briefly for the Crimson Tide of Alabama. 1 year. Played 2 there. Two and 2 to Schumacher. And we'll keep it right there. Well, he just turned 25 years old. Pitched in 4 games, making 1 start at the end of last year for the Brewers. Threw the ball very, very well. He went 10 innings, allowed 2 hits and only 1 run. But Chris, you mentioned earlier, you look at his minor league numbers. Very high walk totals.
Well, he's a guy, Tom, that, you know, he comes into the system with a great arm and a kind of a wild delivery. And even now, he seems to sometimes get all over the place. They've tried to calm his delivery down over the years. And, you know, when you got a power arm like that, you're just going to stick with him. One thing that, you know, stands out to him, as far as I'm concerned, when you look at him and his advancement through the minor leagues, every time he gets to a new level, he has a little bit of a difficulty adjusting. But when he does, he really begins to tear it up.
In the hole, it's short. 2 away. So now Frazier at 286, 20 home runs and 54 runs batted in. Ground ball to first pitch of the at-bat, and that'll do it. Reds are going in order. Homer Bailey will take them out when we return. Let's take a look at Ron Renicke's starting lineup. Brewers with a half-game lead over the Cardinals atop the NL Central. Their lineup presented by Meyer. Gomez, Jeanette, Braun, Ramirez, Lucroy, Davis in the middle, Overbay, Segura, and Nelson. The latter third against Reds right-hander in search of his 9th win on the year, Homer Bailey.
Now they need Homer Bailey to step up. We've seen to have said that against each of the last several starters, starting with Johnny Cueto on Sunday in New York. Matt Latos yesterday, and now Homer Bailey, all within a position to be a stopper tonight.
Ball 1 high to Carlos Gomez. We were talking about Bailey the last time. The Reds had a 4-game losing streak. They lost the final 2 games of the series against the Cardinals at home, and then they went to Los Angeles. Dropped the first 2 games there. And that's when Bailey outdueled Zach Greinke. And the Reds ended that 4-game losing streak. Actually, now I think about it, he outdueled, if I'm not mistaken, Clayton Kershaw that night.
I believe you're right.
That was in a 3-2 Reds win.
A couple of Texans going after each other.
Santiago throws in time. It's a nice patient play right there by Santiago. Did not panic and made the play on a speedy runner. Reds on defense presented by your Ford dealers. Ludwig back in the lineup. Bruce back in the lineup. Frazier goes over to first. Schumacher comes in from right. Santiago goes from second over to third. And you heard the comments with Jim Day by Brian Price. That final game of the 4-game sweep, the Reds won out in San Francisco, and Bailey pitched into the 7th game working on a no-hitter. He had Pena behind the plate with him that night. So at this point in time, the Reds are looking for any edge, any nugget of something good that may have happened recently, and reverting back at least to that battery here tonight.
Well, Brian Price, I think, is trying to juggle his offensive lineup just to get something out of it. And he's got 2 capable catchers on the staff right now that can catch anybody. So you don't really take too much of a step backwards. As long as the pitcher's comfortable, and I think that Bailey is plenty comfortable throwing to Brian Pena. But Mesoraco's been struggling offensively. Last night he gave Jay Bruce a night off. Tonight he gives Devin Mesoraco a night off. You know, and it's really a situation where that type of a philosophy is straight up in the air and open for debate among everybody in baseball. You know, do you stick with your guys game after game, even though they might be going through a slump? Some managers do that, and they just stick with them no matter what. Others decide to make a move now and then, juggle up the lineup and see if they can't get something going. And Brian Price obviously of the latter.
Bailey coming out throwing hard very early in this one. We'll see him regularly in the latter stages of games begin to throw harder as the game moves along. Well, he's 95, 96 right in the very first inning. 0-1 to Brian Braun. Braun at 301, 12 home runs, 56 runs batted in. He had 2 hits, 2 runs batted in last night.
Not only is Bailey throwing hard, he's got a pretty good feel for his slider already, and that's the one thing you really wonder about when you give a pitcher, you know, nearly 2 weeks off. It's been about a week and a half for Homer Bailey since he took the mound. That was when he pitched 5 innings against the Cubs. One thing you worry about is command, especially command early in the game of your breaking ball.
Ryan Gorman not handing out strike 3. Instead, 2-2 on Braun.
Sometimes it's how you receive it back there, and I think it was a little bit of movement right there. See the body movement of Brian Pena as he was catching that ball. Sometimes that can get a marginal pitch to go the other way.
And going the other way is what Braun does to make it 1-0.
Ryan Braun does this about as well as anybody. You get a pitch up after just missing with the breaking ball. He decides to go with a fastball, and second career home run for Braun against Bailey. You know, there are no secrets between Homer Bailey and the Milwaukee Brewers. This is his 20th career start against the Brewers. So when you see guys, and Braun has been around in probably every one of those, or nearly every one, and you get pretty familiar with it. That's why it's so important.
This one down to left field line, and that one is gone. Back-to-back home runs by Braun and Aramis Ramirez.
At this stage in his career, Aramis Ramirez has become a very good off-speed hitter, and he kind of gets out ahead of this pitch. Homer Bailey wanted that ball away. It caught the center of the plate, and that's a dangerous spot to miss to Aramis Ramirez, right out the ballpark, right down the line. Well, you talk about putting a charge into people that are sitting in their seats. They're all excited all of a sudden here.
Number 13 for Braun, number 12 for Ramirez.
First ever Ramirez off Bailey.
And now the all-star starting catcher for the National League, Jonathan Lucroy. 9 home runs, 45 runs batted in. They have got some gaudy numbers in the middle of this lineup. When you put Davis in there, those first 6 hitters in this Brewer lineup have done major damage this season. 0-2 to Lucroy. Gomez 50 RBIs, Braun 57. Ramirez 4 shy of 50, Lucroy 45, Davis 51. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Bailey to Jonathan Lucroy. And a ground ball to Kozar. Well, is in time, but a good start for the Brewers. Back-to-back home runs. LeBron and Ramirez to jump in front. 2-0. Head-to-head challenge app. You and your opponent each select 4 different players, and the person with the most points at the end of each game wins. Head-to-head challenge is free to play, so download today. You and I have met twice.
We are on tonight.
I beg your pardon. You and I have met a total of twice. You've won 1, and I've won 1. And here we are in the rubber game tonight, head-to-head.
And neither of us have picked the 2 guys that have already struck for home runs.
No.
So,
in fact, 2 of my guys have already made out. Well, Schumacher and Frazier.
I'm ahead of you in the out department. Do they pay for that?
Oh, I have a third. I'm sorry. Lucroy. It's the only thing I don't like about the game. And you and I may have to, you can pick players from any game. It doesn't have to be game specific. It can be just players, 4 players, all over baseball. Because I have a hard time. I don't like it. I have a hard time picking players from the other team.
Me too.
Yeah. So,
especially with the pitching staff the Reds are running out there.
No doubt. That's good morning, good afternoon, and good night in Bruce's first at bat returning to the lineup.
When you bring a young kid up like Jimmy Nelson, who's ballyhooed as being a hard thrower, he's throwing 96 in the first inning. The last thing you look for is a little breaking ball that he feathers right on the outside corner through 2 perfect pitches, backdoor sliders to Jay Bruce, and not a lot you can do about that. You've never seen the kid, you're geared for the heater, and he drops 2 perfect pitches on you. I'm not sure who gave me that scouting report about the kid struggling early.
Well, we're only 4 batters into the game.
It's still early.
Ryan Ludwig, 266, 6 home runs, 14 doubles. First 4 batters retired by young Mr. Nelson. And now 1 ball and 1 strike. Brewers coming into this series had won just 3 of their prior 19 games and watched their lead vanish from as many as 9 ahead in the NL Central. They went into play yesterday with the idle Cardinals in a tie atop the division. And now they enter play tonight, a half game in front, 3.5 better than the Reds. Pirates, by the way, are 2.5 out. They lost to the Dodgers last night. In the 4th inning, the Pirates lead the Dodgers tonight 4-2. They jumped on Josh Beckett early in that game. A high fly ball into left field. It'll be handled by Davis. 5 in a row, retired by Jimmy Nelson. And here you get a look at the standings. The Cardinals will play. Well, they're just underway. They're at home taking on the Tampa Bay Rays. That's a 2-game series. Cardinals were off yesterday, and then they'll be off Thursday. It's very odd. And then the Cardinals' next 6 games are against the Cubs and the San Diego Padres. That one stung into right center field by Pena, but there's Braun. 6 in a row set down by the Milwaukee right-hander. And the Brewers have given him a 2-0 lead. (1-800-ELK) Ohio. Homer Bailey. Talked about all the starts he's made in his career. Didn't start very well for Homer, and really that's a mirror image of his major league career. He came up so young, former #1 pick, and struggled against his Brewers team, but here over the last couple of years, considerably better. He allowed back-to-back first-inning home runs, however, tonight to Braun and Ramirez, and trails 2-0. Davis, Soberbay, and Segura due up. Triple foul, a ball and a strike on Chris Davis. Davis came up last year, impressed him enough to give him the everyday job in the outfield when his season began. And boy, he has really come on of late. 16 home runs, 51 runs batted in. Young man grew up Phoenix, Arizona. His father, a Major League Baseball scout for a long, long time.
And he's an excellent fastball hitter, and that's why in this at-bat he's not seen a fastball for a strike yet. That coupled with the fact that he's really done well against Homer Bailey. 3 home runs and a .467 batting average in the 18 times they have met. There's a hitter. And that's a perfect way to pitch in. If you go back and look at those pitches that he threw for strikes, he threw a pitch away, a changeup in, and then went high gas on the outside part of the plate. Never stayed in one zone and let Chris Davis become comfortable. Cholula flamethrower early tonight. The hot sauce, 96 miles an hour.
Away in the inning, and now Lyle Overbay. First pitch swinging, a roller to the second baseman Schumacher, and 2 are out. Bailey retired the first 2 batters you may remember in the first inning. And then he thought he had strike 3 on that breaking ball that you talked about, Chris, at the time. Maybe that body movement, especially with one leg coming to the ground like you're blocking a ball in the dirt, may have given the home plate umpire Gorman a feeling it wasn't a strike, and on the very next pitch, blasted into right off the bat of Ryan Braun.
You got to remember, on an outside pitch, and we say this all the time, it's an estimate for the umpire because his eyes aren't exactly in line. He sees that inside pitch perfectly because he's lined up right on the inside corner, whether it's a lefty or a righty. If you see her against a right-hander, he's off the left shoulder of the catcher, and he sees that inside pitch perfectly. On the outside, you're 17 inches away there, and you're estimating whether it is a ball or a strike.
Two and oh to count on Segura. Well, he had a big night here last night. Segura, a couple of hits, a triple, a single, scored a couple of runs. Made a couple of beautiful plays at shortstop, and we talked about it last night. It was Segura's first game here at Miller Park.
He might have the uniform, please. Write him a little note.
I didn't know they got worked up about that.
Oh, I think they do, yeah.
Hear a lot about it in football. I don't know. I don't know much about it when it comes to the baseball side.
I mean, the reason they do it, I mean, there's a lot of reasons they do it, but one is not to be a distraction. If you're in the outfield and you see that bright, fluorescent color and then trying to pick a ball up, I don't know whether it helps you or hurts you.
Nice pickup by Kozar. Throws out his counterpart. And Bailey comes back with a perfect second inning. We're off to the third with the Brewers lead 2-0.
.com at bat on your favorite mobile phone or tablet. Get live look-ins, instant replay, score stats, audio free, MLB.tv, game of the day, and more. Download on the App Store or visit Reds.com today. I'm Jim Day. The Reds made yet another roster move and yet another injury to the injury list. Logan Ondrusek goes to the disabled list. Curtis Parch recalled from Louisville. Andrusic's having a little bit of tightness and stiffness in his shoulder. He experienced it right before the All-Star break. And even though he had some days off, once they came back to New York City and he was throwing, stiffness and tightness was still in there. It has not gone away. And so to be precautionary, they put him on the disabled list. It is retroactive, though, to before the All-Star break. Tom?
Great stuff as always, Jim Day. We thank you. We'll be checking in regularly with Jim. Jim, by the way, we brought up the last time as the Brewers have jumped in front of you 2-0. The last time we were here, you and I discussed the idea of you going down Bernie's slide. Any movement on that?
There's been no movement. They will not let me at this point, at this moment. We're still working on it. We come back here one more time. I'm all for it. Heck, I'll do it right now if they let me. So far, no movement.
All right. Well, how about running in the sausage races?
That would be probably much more embarrassing. However, I'll take one for the team. If you can work it out. Yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it if you can work it out. You have a lot of pull, Tom. I have none. I have zero.
I can assure you I have none. I have none here. I have none in Cincinnati. I have none in my house.
You're a national guy.
Yeah.
National guys.
I'm a tired guy. Beat up guy. 2-1 to count on Zach Kozai. You had a chance, by the way, Jim, one final question down there. You know, there's a liner in the short center going to be caught by Kozai. And that is out number one. You know, they have a kiddie slide, I was thinking. I was going to ask you, did you inquire about going down that at all? That one right there.
Don't you have to be shorter than Bernie's, like mustache or something, to be qualified to get on that slide?
I don't know, but I think that's we're going to have Jim Day out there tomorrow.
You know, we could always kidnap Bernie.
Even though I act like a kid.
You do, and that's one of the reasons we love being around you.
I understand.
Your sense of humor.
I will probably never grow up. I'm sure there's a weight limit.
I'd like to see him go head first down that slide.
I would too.
Yeah.
Right there. I mean, look at that little girl. And, you know, she came down the more traditional way.
Yeah, she's smiling, and then if I come down behind her, she's terrified and running away.
Do you think there's any chance you get stuck on that thing, Jim?
Unfortunately, yes.
Soft liner on a jam shot to the third baseman. And Ramon Santiago retired. He had his 8-game hitting streak come to an end here last night. And, man, he hit a couple of balls right on the screws, including the final out of the game. Meanwhile, Nelson, Reds getting their first look at him, has retired every Red he's faced so far, 8 in a row to start the game. One ball and one strike on Homer Bailey, and a little dribbler that is foul. 1-2 to Homer Bailey. We have one other idea, by the way, for Jim Day. You know, we were talking about sausage races. We were talking about Bernie's dugout and coming down the slide. If not that one, certainly the smaller version as it strike three to Bailey. And maybe if you can't run in the sausage race, Chris, what about this right here? Hopefully he wouldn't get stuck on that. Reds rank. As the Bengals prepare to report for camp tomorrow, they put 10 players on the PUP list, physically unable to perform list. And what made the Blue Jackets' fourth line so potent last year? Well, you'll want to know that. Brought to you by 1-800-SAFE-AUTO. Drive safe, spend less. I think Brewers in front. Homer Bailey allowing the back-to-back home runs in the first inning to Braun and Ramirez. He's retired everybody else. So he'll start things with the pitcher Nelson, and back to the top of the order in Gomez and Jeanette. Fastball in there, strike. Nelson's a big man. They have him listed at 6'6", 245. Which means he must have grown an inch since spring training. Because when they put together their media guide, they had him at 6'5", 240.
I guess when you're that big, you don't argue about an inch here, an inch there.
Tapper over the mound. It's Cozart next to the bag. One away. A reminder, coming up later on, we'll have our Miller Time moment. As always, brought to you by Miller Lite. Five in a row now retired by Homer Bailey, and here's Gomez, who tapped out to Ramon Santiago, leading off the Brewers' first inning.
Yeah, neither of these pitchers have had to throw a pitch out of the stretch yet.
Good fastball on the inside corner, 96 miles per hour by Homer Bailey. Hoping the Reds offense can get it going, and he can keep rolling like he is right now. Homer looking for his 9th win of the year. Pirates still lead the Dodgers. That game in the 5th inning, 4-2. And we'll let you know what's going on with the Cardinals tonight as well. Told you they are playing the Tampa Bay Rays. Straight up into the air. And Bailey called off by Frazier for the second out of the inning. Bailey looked like he wanted to go ahead and make the play on that ball.
Why not? It's one of the biggest myths in baseball, that pitchers can't catch pop-ups. I mean, how many times do you see a pitcher standing right underneath the ball, only to be called off by one of the corner infielders who's coming racing across the infield?
Well, but therefore, wouldn't you continue to wonder, can a pitcher catch a pop-up?
Yeah.
If they never let him do it.
You're right.
Because they never let him do it.
You're right, they don't. Perfect example right there. Homer Bailey had to get out of the way of the ball.
Did you ever catch a pop-up in your major league career? Do you recall?
Yeah, I did, but I was probably called off of more of them than I caught.
But you did catch one. Yeah. I don't mean a bunt attempt or something like that. A legitimate pop-up.
Yeah.
I'll bet you, though, there are some pitchers in the big leagues right now that if you took away a bunt attempt, that maybe they pitched for a number of years and have never caught a pop-up.
I'm sure they have. Even in spring training drills, when they have the pop-up machine, it's like a batting practice machine, but shoots pop-up straight in the air. You know, you go through that whole thing, and Pitchers, first thing they do is bail out, and then they point at the guy who should be catching it. They all of a sudden become a manager.
I like that program.
Yeah.
Now I know why you are the way you are. Two and one. Scooter Giannetti rounded out to Frazier. First time up, waves through another breaking ball, and it's 2-2.
Yeah, that time a curveball. Homer's got really two different types of breaking balls. He's got a slider that he throws in the high 80s, around 88, 89. And he's got that curveball that is in the 76 to 79 mile per hour range. That's a good fastball hitter. That's why they try to keep the breaking ball on him.
Two down, nobody on. We're in the bottom of the third inning. Perhaps you're just joining us. The Reds yet to have a base runner against Jimmy Nelson. First time they've seen this young right-hander. And for Homer Bailey, he allowed back-to-back home runs by Ryan Braun and Aramis Ramirez in the bottom of the first inning. A foul ball. Jeanette is putting together a very nice year. He won the job last season after Ricky Weeks, for what was basically the last 2.5 years, watched his career just completely spiral downward. Very little production. All-star Ricky Weeks had been. Ranging far to his left, Schumacher, and a nice play to take away a hit by Skip Schumacher. 1-2-3 for Bailey. We go to the fourth. The Reds trail 2-0.
Weekend at GABP. Purchase 4 tickets for only $48 and receive 4 free Reds hats. Don't miss this exciting weekend full of fireworks, giveaways, and live mascot races featuring the Washington Nationals Racing Presidents. You got to see it live. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or log on to reds.com/4 for 48. I'm Jim Day, back with you. And Skip Schumacher, known as, well, he's just a battler. He's a grinder. He's a hustler. True baseball player. And today recognized for that. The Players Alumni Association awarded him the Heart and Hustle Award for the Cincinnati Reds. They give it to each or one member of each team in the league. They will name a national victor in that category as well. But Schumacher was very touched by it. He won the Darryl Kyle Award, which he said was very special to him earlier in his career. This one's a close second. You could put Heart and Hustle on the back of his jersey, and I don't think anyone would have a problem with it.
No, in fact, Chris and I were talking about Schumacher the other day, and I actually I told him, I said, I pointed out to my own son that it's easy to follow the stars and to root for the stars, and they are the stars, and they've earned being stars. But those don't have to be the only guys you root for. And a guy like Schumacher is a guy that you could pattern yourself after and you would do just fine. Playing the game the way he plays the game. And the way he conducts himself, for that matter, away from the field. Hamilton bangs one into center field.
Finally got geared up for that fastball, Billy did. And this is really what the opposition's been doing against him, is throwing him high fastballs, hoping that he kind of gets underneath that ball and pops it into the air. That time he got his top hand rolling on it and drives it right back through the box. First Reds hit. Now, young Jimmy Nelson's got to worry about Billy Hamilton at first base.
Jim Day gave you those numbers before the game. As Billy Hamilton goes, it has become a pattern. And the sample size is such that it's not just a handful of games here or there. When he's getting on base, things are happening for the Redlegs.
Well, it was kind of interesting talking to Jerry Narron today, the bench coach for the Brewers before the ball game. And he thought that the play that Mark Reynolds made at first base on Hamilton's ground ball was the play of the game.
I thought very early, you and I talked about it.
Remember what happened to start the inning off. Third inning, Matt Latos walks on, and he goes down to first base, nobody out. And then you have Billy Hamilton hits a ground ball to Mark Reynolds, who normally would go and get the lead runner at second base. Hamilton has this no problem. Lucroy drops the ball. But instead of throwing the ball to get the advanced runner, he steps on the bag and gets Billy Hamilton instead, which answered the question, what would you rather have? Latos on second or Hamilton on first? As it turned out, Latos went to third, tried to score on a high bouncer in the infield, was thrown out at the plate. But who knows which way that inning would have gone. The Reds certainly would have scored a run on that same play had it been Hamilton at third instead of Matt Latos.
Well, you brought it up the same thing at the time.
I was thinking like the baseball guy last night.
Well, you and Jerry Narron, a lot alike. Couple of baseball guys. Two and one to Schumacher. IGS bringing the energy. We talked about Hamilton. He's getting on base, making things happen. Look at the Reds' record when he steals a base in a game. Winning 22 out of 30 times. Just with one stolen base in a game. Of course, a number of those, he has more than one. And that's a jam shot foul ball. Remains 2-2 on Schumacher. 39 stolen bases now for Hamilton, who's been thrown out 15 times. Reds are trailing 2-1. Roof beginning to close. There's been a lot of talk about storms coming through this area. Very windy during the day today. And very humid. This will not advance a runner, or will it? Hamilton will take off. Over base throw, not going to be in time. So even on a ground ball right in front of you, Hamilton still advances. There are no more than 2 or 3 guys in a league that do that.
Well, the advantage of this is that the shortstop Segura has to come way out of his position. And there was nobody at the bag to make Billy Hamilton stay close to second base. So he was about halfway to third base. He was just waiting for Segura to go ahead and cut that ball loose to first base. But you're right. There aren't that many players around the league that would even try that.
Well, the Brewers are going to concede the run. They'll play the middle infield back. Unless the ball maybe is a one-hopper right at Aramis Ramirez, who's about a step behind the bag at third. The way Hamilton runs, more than likely, as Frazier is hit in the back with a breaking ball. The question is, you only have 1 out in the inning, and you have one of your big power guys, potential power guys anyway, and Bruce at the plate. The last thing in the world anybody wants here is a ground ball double play. We know Bruce has been struggling, but do you take the chance of Frazier getting thrown out trying to steal? 0-1 on Jay Bruce.
No, I don't.
It is raining on a sliver of the field. But what a cool shot that is. Its roof not completely closed yet, and there is a very light rain shower falling. And it's coming right through as that opening gets smaller and smaller. Just watering that part where you set the little thing in your backyard that instead of having it going all the way back and forth, maybe a third of the way, then right back.
You probably need one of these over your backyard. Boy, Nelson is just all over the place right now. And now the roof has stopped closing. Like it's stuck. Newport wanted it outside, and he made a nice grab on that ball to keep it from going to the screen.
Two and one now to Jay Bruce. And a bouncer fair down the right field line. Hamilton will score. Frazier on his way to third. He'll be held there on an RBI double by Jay Bruce. And it is a 2-1 ball game.
Now the Reds finally get a break. Had the first baseman been playing back in a normal position, this ball goes right at him, but since the runner's at first base, he's playing even with the bag, a high hopper right over the head of a very tall overbay. And the Reds push a run across. They have to lead down to 1 now, and all the things that have gone wrong for the Reds in that series against the Yankees and last night, maybe the worms turn.
In there, a strike to Ryan Ludwig. Tying run at third, go ahead run at first. The Reds have not had a lead on this road trip. Strike 2 to Ryan Ludwig.
Two pretty good pitches right there. If you want to feather the bottom part of the strike zone, Jimmy Nelson's right on it.
And Ludwig is out on strikes, 2 away in the inning.
That's where it really helps if you're a strikeout type pitcher. get a runner at third base, it gives you an option of getting out of there without relying on your defense to turn a miraculous play. He threw three pretty good pitches to Ludwig right there. You never know where they're watching Fox Sports Ohio, Tom, and I'll tell you where they are tonight on a makeshift outdoor theater, waiting for the evening sky to roll around. Fox Sports Ohio is being watched on Marquette Street in Madison, Wisconsin.
Really?
They're having a street party up there right behind my daughter's house. Carrie is watching it. She's recruited all of her friends and neighbors, and they're cooking out, and they've got a screen rigged up.
Well, what are we doing here?
Well, we're providing the entertainment right now, and I can't say it's very good entertainment.
Well, you speak for yourself on that, but Madison, Wisconsin,
home of the Badgers.
Home of the Badgers. I talked to my old buddy, their longtime great head football coach, now their athletic director, Barry Alvarez, today. He was here in Milwaukee. Well, they're fired up already about football season. And a liner knocked down that trickles to the second baseman. So just when you're thinking Lady Luck is smiling down on you, this happens. But the Reds get a run, and they're down by a run. When I talked about the Reds not leading on this series, I want to just clarify, make sure that people understand. They have not had a lead at the end of a complete inning on this road trip. The only lead they had was in the final game on Sunday, when they scored in the top of the fifth inning against Hiroki Kuroda. But in the bottom of the fifth inning, the Yankees scored 2 runs and never looked back, winning that game in the bottom of the ninth in a 3-game sweep, and then the Yankees get beat last night.
You're doing a little self-umpiring. I like that.
Got to do it, and Lord knows I need it. 2-1 ball game. Braun, Ramirez, and Lucroy. Ground ball in the first pitch, right at Ramon Santiago. 1 out. Homer Bailey gave up those consecutive home runs to Braun and Ramirez in the opening inning. The Brewers have not had another batter reach base. Braun hit a fastball away, going the other way. And then off speed on the inner part of the plate to Ramirez. And he jumped all over it. Just fair. Broken bat, slow roller. Ramirez does not run well and is easily thrown out by Kozar.
Or hard.
Lucroy. Batted out to Kozar.
That's a good pitch right there. That little fastball. You know, Homer will throw the four-seamer that pretty much stays straight, and then that two-seamer has a little bit of horizontal movement on it, and it ran right in on his hands right there and just saw that bat in half.
Want to know on Lucroy, and it's on the inside corner string. Cardinals are tied 1-1 with Tampa Bay. That game in the third inning at Busch Stadium. Here we are in the bottom of the fourth. A 2-1 Milwaukee lead. Reds had a chance to tie this baby up after plating a run in the fourth inning on the double by Jay Bruce. But Jimmy Nelson struck out Ryan Ludwig. Frazier at third and Bruce at second, and got Brian Pena on that rocket right back up through the middle. But Nelson made contact with the ball. A lot of times you'll see that ball dribble where nobody has a play. Instead, it ricocheted right at the second baseman who threw out Pena. 1-2 pitch.
Oh,
Haley was on his way to the dugout.
and I can see why. He thought that was definitely a strike. I think Lucroy probably did too. Just played it off well. Although our Fox track shows that little splitter being off the plate. Lucroy's really been cold. You go back to July the 5th, he's batting 133. 1 run batted in since July the 5th.
And he's gone swinging to end the inning. Second strikeout for Homer. Reds come to bat in the fifth, down a run. Together by Toyota. For over 30 Toyota offers, visit buyatoyota.com and go for the Save on Wing Tuesdays at B-Dubs with specially priced wings all day. Buffalo Wild Wings, wings, beer, sports. Well, the Reds in Fox Sports Ohio would love to send out a very special happy birthday to Gertrude Reed. Gertrude is celebrating her 96th birthday today. Gertrude, happy birthday, young lady. We hope you've had a wonderful, wonderful day. Hey, before we get going here in the fifth inning, today was your first time going to Madison, Wisconsin.
It was indeed.
How did you like it?
Beautiful place. 2 huge lakes, campus right very close to the state capitol. Beautiful Capitol building. Kind of a hippie town. Now, there's parts of that town that, you know, interesting place. Very nice campus. I imagine, though, now it was a record high day today, heat-wise, for the year. I think it got as high in the Milwaukee area as 88. People were complaining about it up in Madison. Of course, I just had to let them know, whoever wanted to hear it. Gets a little warmer in Cincinnati. I think it was 94 back home today.
Supposed to have one more very humid day tomorrow, and then all that stuff, as I understand it, in Cincinnati is supposed to blow out of there, and our temperatures will be spectacular during this entire upcoming homestand. That's what I'm told. We'll see. 2-0 to Zach Cozart. Reds down 2-1 as they bat in the 5th inning. It's funny, I was talking to a guy about how warm it was here today. He looked at me and he said, I'm going to savor every second of this. He didn't have to say another word. Because when the frozen tundra hits Wisconsin,
it stays around, doesn't it,
for a long time. I've had a couple of the coldest days of my life in Green Bay. Cool. Cool, doctor. 3-1 on Cozart. So 3-0 has become 3-2. Cozart lined out to the center fielder Gomez in the 3rd inning. Nelson retired the first 9 Reds he faced. First time through the order, nothing to it. 3 strikeouts. Billy Hamilton singled to begin the 4th, stole the base. A couple of batters later, hit batsman. A double by Bruce, plated a run. And a routine 2-hopper to Segura. Cozart easily out. 1 gone. Here in the 5th. Now Ricky Weeks, we showed you just a moment ago, taking over at second. There is tightness in the right thigh of Scooter Gennett. Right now you can tweet your photo using hashtag #OhioFanPhoto, and perhaps we'll show it during an upcoming game. It's presented by AT&T. The biggest injury that has hit this Brewers team this year was to the guy who was their closer last year, although he did not throw the ball well in spring training this year, and they knew something was wrong with him, Jim Henderson. Now, they've had Braun on a stint, 1 stint on the DL. They've had Aramis Ramirez a stint on the DL. But outside of that, they have been extremely fortunate as far as injuries concerned, and we know that is definitely not the case for the Reds and more recently the St. Louis Cardinals.
You're right.
And we know for sure it's not been the case for the Pirates. I mean, they've lost for most of this year at any given time 3/5 of their starting rotation. So the Brewers have been the best team. They've been the most consistent team. Yeah, they've blown a big lead in the division. But certainly good health has a little bit of something to do with that. Santiago with a 3-1 count, lined out to the 3rd baseman his first time up.
Well, they've got a very deep lineup, and there's no question about that. The deepest lineup probably in the division without a doubt. The question is whether their pitching would hold up, and there's been some talk about whether the Brewers should pursue a pitcher like David Price. But the price for Price would be a guy like Jimmy Nelson. So you've got to ask yourself, and the Brewers have done this over the last few years when they were in the hunt. Remember, they went out and got CC Sabathia years ago. Then more recently, they got Zach Greinke. Aces that really turned their season around. And they wonder if David Price would do that. But, I mean, the trade value of a guy like that, would you give away someone like your top prospect? And
yes.
The Tampa Bay would ask first, probably and foremost, for the guy who's on the mound right now. Would you do that deal?
No problem. No problem. Not even bat an eye. You got another year on a contract with Price. Absolutely. Not even a shred of debate.
Okay.
Wouldn't you do it?
I'd do it too.
Now, I don't know who else you'd have to throw in, so I'm not saying you'd give away the farm. But if it's starting with a guy on the mound, and he might turn out to be a great pitcher one day. If I'm going to have David Price for a year and a half and a chance to compete for a World Series, absolutely.
Well, that's probably one thought that might scare Walt Jocketty, is that David Price would end up, maybe not only with the Brewers, but somewhere in this division. Because the Cardinals have been rumored to be in on the David Price as well.
You know, the other team I've wondered about, and there haven't been any whispers about it, as that one is punted by Bailey, and Overbay thought about it. He'll take the out behind it. So Bailey with his 8th sacrifice of the year. You know, Chris, maybe you've read somewhere where they're in the David Price sweepstakes. If indeed there is a David Price sweepstakes, and we don't know at the end of the day if Tampa Bay's going to trade him or not. They have another year in his contract. The Pirates are a team. All the injuries they've had in their rotation, and you don't hear anything about the Pirates. That's a team that, if I'm running that ball, and again, depending on what you have to give them. Now, I don't give up Polanco for him. Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to keep that baseball rejuvenation going in Pittsburgh. That's the kind of deal you have to make.
Billy Hamilton to bat him. Straight away center field. And this will end the inning. 2 innings in a row. The Reds lead the tying run in scoring position. Middle of the 5th. It's a 1-run Milwaukee lead. Tomorrow on Reds Weekly, we'll break down the race in the Central Division, catch up with the Reds' all-time saves leader, Danny Graves, and look back on the best moments from the first half of this year. It's all on the new Reds Weekly. Great show. That'll come your way tomorrow at 6 p.m. on Fox Sports Ohio. Of course, we have a day game here tomorrow. Jeff Pecoro, the host, Ronnie Millinor, Kent Dreamweaver, among others, putting that show together. Great program. So check it out tomorrow. Tomorrow here, Reds Live Eastern Time. We'll get underway at 1:30. Our game coverage at 2. So Jim Day and Chris Welsh will get you all started with Reds Live. Jeff Pecoro, Brian Giesenswang. Maybe we'll have a Jim Day going down that Bernie Jr. slide. Brought to you by Ray St. Clair Roofing. 0-2 to Chris Davis.
Boy, he has made some great pitches to Chris Davis so far tonight. He's thrown, almost the same types of pitches. Throw a breaking ball, then a change up, and then last time he blew him away with a fastball. We'll see now that he's in control, no balls and 2 strikes, whether Homer is going to toy with him with another breaking ball or just try to throw the heat by him upstairs.
Homer's retired 10 in a row. Tried the breaking ball. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The only 2 Brewers to reach base. Hit back-to-back home runs. Bailey retired the first 2, gave up 2 home runs, and is retired 10 in a row. Throwing the ball really well tonight. Home run's going to happen. And Bailey has allowed now 15 home runs in 118 innings.
Not an outlandish amount, really. I mean, top 10 in the league. With that 8 and 9 spot right at number 15 home runs given up, there's a bunch of guys in that category.
Pitching matchup tomorrow will have Kyle Loesch. He is the ace of this Brewers team with a 10-4 record. I think Peralta has the ace stuff of this Brewers team, but Loesch has been their big winner and is again this year. He'll try to match Peralta, who got number 11 last night. And here's strike 3 called on the inside edge.
Well, that's a well-placed slider right there. Boy, it seemed like Homer Bailey saved his best pitches for his toughest hitter. Said early on that Chris Davis has had the best batting average of anybody in this Brewer lineup against Homer. But not tonight.
So 1 away for Lyle Overbay. Swung at the first pitch and grounded out to Schumacher. His only time up. First pitch swinging comes up empty here. Reds have gone from a season high 7 games over 500. They've been there twice, including at the All-Star break. But desperately needing to get a win here tonight.
Not only to break that 7-game road losing streak, but also to give you a chance to win the series with another win tomorrow.
And we mentioned Loesch on the mound tomorrow for Milwaukee. It'll be Mike Leake on the mound for the Reds. Loesch at 10-4, sparkling 3.1 earned run average, and Leake at 7-8. The ERA at 3.6. He lost the first game after the break in Yankee Stadium, going 7 innings and allowing 4 earned runs. 2-1 to Overbay. And Overbay has been around a long time. These are the guys that make you feel like you're getting old. I remember when this guy was drafted back when I was working for the Arizona Diamondbacks, and here he is now, what, 15 years in the league? 18th round draft pick in 1999. Was in the big leagues a year and a half later. Got 2 at bats for that Diamondbacks team that won the World Series in 2001. 2-2 pitch. Now I got a question for you, Chris. I've had fans ask me this, and I assume the answer is yes. If you played in 2 games for that Diamondbacks team in 2001, do you get a World Series full share, and do you get a ring?
Depends what the other players on the team vote you. Those players that aren't there all year long end up stepping out of the room, while the players that are there all year long end up having a big vote. That's when they vote shares to clubhouse attendants, bat boys, maybe a traveling secretary, trainers, and so on. So that's all at the discretion of the players.
I'll have to ask Lyle Overbay that question. Well, that's an at-bat that got away from Homer. That's his first walk of the night. And ends a string of 11 consecutive batters retired. Here's Segura.
All he's got to do is keep that fair. Segura had a good night last night. Triple ended up coming around to score on the same play when the ball hit his foot, went into the Reds dugout. And he had a single and scored a run in the fourth inning. Scored 2 of the 5 runs the Brewers had last evening.
On the outside corner, now it's 0-2 on Gene Segura. That's a good tune to play the ballpark. Oh, Jay Giles band. Haven't heard that in a while.
There's a good reason for that.
That was a great band. Come on, are you kidding me?
Well, they haven't been around in a while.
Well, that's true. That's a great tune. Just got a nice upbeat. 0-2 on Segura.
Oh, boy. Breaking ball. No malintent, but got Segura either on the wrist or the arm.
Well, he had 2 strikes on Overbay and then missed on 2 in a row to walk him. He was 0-2 on Segura and now hits him. Well, Bailey in a little bit of trouble due to wildness, so walking ahead batter, and now the pitcher lays one down. Play will go to first, and a runner thought about coming home, but Bailey was right there. So they give Henderson a sacrifice, or Nelson, I beg your pardon, a sacrifice, and Overbay to third, Segura to second base.
You know, Jimmy Nelson runs down the line. That's going to be an awfully close play. I mean, here's a kid making his 3rd major league start, and he's jogging down the line right there like he's been around for 15 years. I don't get that at all.
You know why? Because every team enables it.
Wow. I mean, it's his win on the line.
Well, you're dead on.
Well, thank you very much.
Well, now you got one out to get here. Huge batter in this game. It's the biggest batter of the night for Bailey. Only behind a run. And he misses high to Carlos Gomez. Gomez 0 for 2 is grounded to third and popped up to Todd Frazier. That was a ball that was right in front of the mound, you may remember, and Bailey was underneath it, and Frazier called him off to make the catch. Looked like he went around. Wow.
like even to Brian Gorman, but he was smart enough to ask for help at first base.
Pulled foul.
Boy, looking for a fastball. Bailey takes something off of it, dials up a little bit of a split finger pitch. It looked like that time on a 2-0 count.
Two balls and a strike. And a fastball is right there at 96. Strike two called. Another very close pitch. Well, I tell you, Homer is he's not gotten that call on borderline pitches in this game so far tonight. What do you think they're discussing here, Chris?
Well, they're discussing the fact that they've got a base open. And there's no need to come right down Broadway with a pitch that Gomez is looking for. Believe me, if you give him a fastball, he's going to spin on it. So I think that they're probably going to throw him a breaking ball here. Gomez might be looking for a heater. And if you miss your spot, miss it out of the zone, not down the center of the plate.
Walk, a hit batter, and another walk. So now you're going to face Weeks, who is batting for the first time in the game.
Now, you mentioned early on, Tom, about how Ricky Weeks has lost his position here in Milwaukee to Scooter Gennett, and how Weeks has seen his career seemingly go right down the tubes over the last couple of years. But don't tell Homer Bailey that, because his career numbers against Homer Bailey are as good as anybody in baseball. And I'm sure that Homer Bailey knows that. That's what we're talking about. 14 for 27, a .519 hitter. Now he's got the bases loaded.
Well, if you remember the last time the Reds were a heater, the only game the Brewers won, Ricky Weeks had a huge hit off the bench in that game. That came off Manny Parra. It tied the game at 2 in the bottom of the 8th inning. That was a game that Latos pitched, and they took him out after 6 shutout innings. That was his first start of this year. So Weeks a batter. Ball one away. All this inning created by Homer's wildness. 2 walks and a hit batsman to load the bases. But Bailey getting a swing and a miss. Gomez had gone probably 25 or 30 feet off that first base bag. Had Pena glanced down that way initially, Frazier was already coming in behind him, and they would have thrown him out. That's strike two.
Boy, Homer's got tremendous confidence in his breaking stuff to Ricky Weeks. He has not thrown a fastball yet. That split finger fastball is not usually one that is thrown for a strike, but he's got good control of it tonight. Needs another one right here to get out of the inning. Oh. Was that close?
He's had a whole fleet of them.
Maybe not as close as it appears. Again, Pena kind of hanging way off the edge of the plate. This is your decision pitch. 2-2 count.
Two pitch. Broken bat roller. Gonna have to hurry. And got him by a step on a nice play by Kozai. The Brewers leave him loaded. It's still a one-run game at the end of 5. The third and fourth batters of the night against Homer Bailey play long ball. Ryan Braun and then Aramis Ramirez down the left field line. Reds got Billy Hamilton on, Frazier on. Bruce doubled down the right field line to make it a 2-1 game after a strikeout by Ludwig. A line drive that was knocked down, ricocheting to the second baseman Jeanette, who threw out Brian Pena to end the inning, keeping it a 2-1 game, and that's where we are here in the top of the 6th. Each team with only 2 hits. The Reds had runners at second and third with a chance to tie in the 4th inning. They had a runner at second with 2 away in the 5th before Nelson got Billy Hamilton on a fly ball to center. Nelson has fanned 4. He's hit a batter and walked a batter. He's not been nearly as sharp these last 2 innings as he was the first time through the batting order when he retired all 9 Reds hitters.
Tell you what, though, he's still very impressive for a young man just making his 3rd major league start. I mean, he's still his first 3rd this year.
He only made 1 start in the big leagues last year. It's only his, 4th major league start. That was a huge strikeout of Ludwig, and he really got down to business in that at bat. And he strikes out Schumacher. 1 away.
Now, what the Brewers did to get Jimmy Nelson activated, they took their 5th starter, who was struggling somewhat, Marco Estrada, 31-year-old right-hander. And they moved him into the bullpen. Jimmy Nelson essentially forced the Brewers' hand by just dominating AAA talent down in the PCL. I mean, he was 10-2 down there with a 1.4 earned run average. Pitched 111 innings down in AAA and gave up 70 hits. I mean, those are numbers like Johnny Cueto. Of course, he was doing it down in AAA. Had more than a strikeout per inning. So those numbers don't scream, I'm big league ready or very close to it. None do. So that's why they moved Estrada out and brought Nelson in. And they're hoping that this young man is going to be one of the anchors for their rotation for a long time.
He is looking mighty sharp here tonight, and especially so far in this 6th inning. He fans Schumacher to start it. And quickly ahead of Frazier, 1 ball and 2 strikes with Jay Bruce waiting on deck. Down around his feet and throws out Frazier 2-away. You can always have the latest information on the Reds right at your fingertips. Follow Reds reporter Kevin Goheen from FoxSportsOhio.com on Twitter at FSOhio_K Goheen, Goheen. Two-away in the inning, and now Jay Bruce. He knocked in the only Reds run with that bouncer over the head of Overbay down the right field line in the 4th inning. For Bruce, that was his first hit on this road trip. He did not have a hit during the 3-game series in New York, and then did not play in the game here last night, and this will be a 1-2-3 inning right through the heart of the order. Milwaukee 2, Reds 1 after 5.5. Fans through the gates on Saturday, you'll receive a Mr. Redlegs mustache and hat presented by La Rosas. Most don't miss live mascot races all weekend. They'll have the Washington Nationals Racing Presidents. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS or log on to Reds.com today. There you go, Chris. You had the Italian. And the Italian edging out the hot dog there at the end. Photo finish. A crash at the finish.
I think there's going to be an inquiry.
With Chorizo finishing, what was the final tally? The Chorizo edged out for fourth.
The homer had a 29-pitch inning there in the fifth. And by contrast, Jimmy Nelson worked right through the sixth inning very quickly, so Homer's right back out on the mound with really not a whole lot of time even to get a breather.
Fastball in there, strike to Ryan Braun. He hit that home run in the first inning and bounced out to third his last time up. Bailey has only given him 2 runs on 2 hits. The home runs by Braun and Ramirez in the opening inning, and those are the 2 hitters that start things here in the bottom of the 6th. And that's a base hit for Ryan Braun. Now, Braun will take one from you every now and again.
He's got 9 of them this year.
I've been thrown out 3 times. And he takes a good lead over there on the outside corner of strike.
You know what else Braun does is gets a really good secondary lead, which means that it's easier for him by getting a good secondary lead to get the third base on a base hit, maybe score on a double. Just one extra step off the bag there as that pitch is going to the plate.
You know, you talk to people around here, and everybody's different on the way they feel about what happened with Ryan Braun last year. We've seen that from various fan bases all over. And it doesn't always have to be the PED use. I mean, heck, you look at Pete Rose and the whole gambling situation, and Reds fans, born and raised Cincinnati guy, they're going to be far more prone to be in favor of Pete Rose than maybe somebody who lives in Dallas, Texas. This is a double play. Whoa! That ball took a wicked hop on Schumacher. He's lucky that ball didn't bust open his lip. How in the world do you have the reactions to do that? That's incredible.
Ball hit very sharply, but right at him, and he just kind of played defense of his body right there. I'll tell you what, he wasn't getting out of the way of that ball, though. All right, so complete your thought.
You know, when you talk to some people about Braun, there are always going to be people who are going to be angry with him and upset with him forever. But the majority seem to sort of, move along and, okay, that was in, and, what about now? But when you talk to some Brewers fans and really baseball fans about Braun, for those that follow the story very closely, what has a number of those people still upset with Braun is not necessarily the PED thing. It's the vehement denial to a point where another man lost his job because of the handling. Remember the tests they took and charging another man with tainting the specimen that they were sending into Major League Baseball, and that he had it in for Braun and the whole 9 yards, and the fellow lived right here in Wisconsin. And that guy got fired because of that. And there are some people that have never forgotten that.
Well, it was the chain of custody of the specimen that was that was the weakness in the case on the part of Major League Baseball. So Braun hired the best lawyers he could find. They found the weakness in the case. They exposed the weakness in the case. He gets exonerated on that technicality. And now you're saying that people don't like Braun for the good job that his attorneys did.
No. When Braun came out in the press conference, it was his words, not his lawyer's words, that were accusatory in nature, charging another man with,
tampering with evidence.
Exactly, tampering with evidence. Now, granted, his lawyer did that in front of an arbitrator. But Braun was the one who came out in public and really took the guy to task.
Yeah, but don't you think they rehearsed? Do you think Brian Braun came up with that on his own?
I'm not suggesting whether. I have no idea whether he did or he didn't. All I know is he's the one that said it.
Well, it was a shame that man lost his job.
That ball's in the air. Deep left center field. And 2-1 becomes 3-1.
Well, we talked about Lucroy has done virtually nothing since the 5th of July. That is his first home run in that period of time. Only his second run batted in. And the Brewers get that run back that the Reds pushed across in the 4th.
And that's a big, big run. Bailey knew it immediately.
You know what? And really, if you look at the location of that pitch, not all that bad of a spot, except that it caught the center of the plate, but right down at the very bottom of the strike zone. Lucroy is just a good hitter, even when he's going bad.
Solo home runs. Brewers only have one other hit outside of the 3 bombs, and that was a single to begin this inning by Braun that was promptly wiped away on the double play ball by Ramirez. Only 2 outs and nobody on. Lucroy. It's number 10. Santiago, throw across the diamond to end the inning. A solo home run sends us 2-7 with the Brewers leading by a pair. Fan photo of the game brought to you by AT&T. Dale. The boys hanging out. Those guys look like brothers to you, or no?
No. Good buddies. Big Dale and Little Dale.
All right. Talk about how you sort of glance around the ballpark, and especially in the lower two bowls where we can see best. There are a lot of Reds fans here again tonight, as there were last night.
Yeah. Well, those red shirts really stand out in a sea of blue.
Yeah. I mean, this is a great part of the country to come to visit in the summertime.
Well, it's a great ballpark to plan a visit to because you know that you'll never have a rainout.
That's right.
I mean, that's one of the reasons why I've always said why the Brewers draw so well, because you can drive from the far reaches of Brewer country. It goes all over the state of Wisconsin. Of course, to the south, very close to the south, you've got Chicago. What, about an hour and a half south of here?
Yeah.
You can go far, far west and come a long, long way knowing when you leave the house that there's no chance that you're going to be sitting through a rain delay or even a rainout.
Ludwig hooks one into left field, a base hit. His first hit in 3 at-bats tonight. And when you come to Wisconsin, I mean, it's one of the great states in America for summertime. All the lakes and all the Lake Geneva, Green Lake, Wisconsin, Door County. So you can bring the family in, maybe stop here for a day, then drive right out to wherever you want to go.
But you prefer coming up here in the winter, I guess.
Well, I did. I used to like coming up here a lot. Hooked into right field, and that'll be a base hit by Pena. And Ludwig wisely going to stay right there at second base. So the first 2 aboard with the Reds down 2 to open up the 7th inning.
The Reds are going to get some activity down their bullpen because now that you're down the bottom part of the order, you've got Kozar coming up, first 2 on. You ask him to bunt, Santiago on deck, and then the pitcher spot, of course, Homer Bailey. So Bailey's giving you 6 innings. If you need a pinch hitter and you can move the runners over, Jumbo getting it loose.
And the Brewers now have action in their bullpen. It's a left-hander. I'm thinking that might be Zach Duke beginning to throw in their bullpen. We saw Smith, the left-hander, here last night. And that is Zach Duke.
And they're probably getting him loose in the event that Brian Price is thinking about Donald Lutz. He's the left-hander on the bench. What did he do? Tweak his knee trying to get out of the way of that ball?
His whole body looked like he got tweaked to me. I mean, he was squared around, and all of a sudden he's just straight back.
Ooh.
Yeah, that right knee should keep continuing to flex right now, even at the plate.
Well, he hasn't had too many days off. I mean, you talk about a guy that's played nearly every game.
Overbay is right on top of Kozar. And then backs off on the pitch. All right, Chris.
Well, the pressure.
This is 2 in a row.
Yeah, well, you're still going to. I think if you're committed to bunt, you're probably still bunting right here.
Boy, as close as they are, does that not change your
Well,
thinking at
for
all?
a position player, he should be able to pull it back and butcher boy, but there's no guarantee of a base hit there. The pressure here is on Ryan Ludwig getting a decent jump. And how about Jimmy Nelson not able to throw a ball near the strike zone?
I can't remember the last time I saw corner infielders play this aggressive on a position player bunting. They don't look like it right now, but when that guy is coming to the plate, either Ramirez or Overbay, depending on what play is on, they are right on top of Kozar. Now, 3-0, they're not. 3-1. Does that change your thinking, or does Brian Price still ask Cozart now to bunt? He's looking down to Steve Smith, the third base coach, is Cozart. And Ramirez is letting everybody know what's going on and how they want to play it in the infield. And here comes Overbig. And I believe it hit him. It did.
I think it did hit him, and the Brewers will probably come out and say he may have attempted to bunt that ball. Well, that's a rough at bat for Cozart.
Now, it started with the right knee that clearly bothered him the entire at bat. You could hear that ball make contact with his hand from all the way up here.
Got his right hand, it looked like, right underneath the barrel of the bat. And Ron Renicky is going to do exactly what we thought, which is that he tried to bunt that ball. They're going to, I guess he's not going to ask for a review.
No, that ball went underneath the bat, and Cozart was hit on that right hand.
Yeah. Yeah, but my point is, was he in the process of attempting to lay a bunt down?
We saw it happen last week, remember?
Yeah. Was he still attempting to try to bunt? And now Renicky's making a long walk out, not a long walk, a slow walk out. And he's going to talk to the home plate umpires. All right, do you want a review or not? And they are indeed going to ask for a review for Brian Gorman. So he'll bring in Tony Randazzo, the second base umpire. And Cozart showing Brian Price and Paul Lessard exactly where it got him. Looked like it got him on the finger, back of the fingers. Well, let's hope that's not a serious injury.
Now, Chris, you correct me if I'm wrong here. For a player to be deemed trying to bunt the ball, right? As you square around and above home plate, this clearly, to me anyway, it looks like Cozart is pulling away from trying to bunt the ball.
Yeah, but I'm going to ask you the question. Is he pulling his entire body away, or is he pulling the bat away?
Well, on that side view, it looked like everything was coming, like right here. He'll start to come back about now. Ever so slightly. I don't know.
Well, that's going to be a very interesting ruling by the guys in New York.
And they say it stands.
Okay.
Call is confirmed is the official language. So in other words, they made the correct call. Well. Now you have them loaded with nobody out. The Brewers are out of challenges. Santiago lined out to third his first time up. And, well, no, it won't be Ron Renicky who comes out.
It'll be Rick Kranitz.
Yep.
And this is a good time if you're a Brewers coach. You're going out here just to try to settle him down a little bit. I mean, this inning can get away from you in a hurry if you're a young pitcher making only his third start of the season. You couldn't throw strikes to Cozart when he was trying to lay a bunt down. You end up hitting him, putting him on base.
These are huge at-bats right here and right now for the Cincinnati Reds.
All right, so what do you do now if you're Ramon Santiago? You look right out of the on-deck circle, ready to swing the bat on the first pitch. I mean, this guy needs to throw a strike early on.
Santiago has been swinging a very good bat.
I say you be ready to wheel that lumber right away. If you make it out on the first pitch, so be it.
Reds are down a pair, but they're loaded with none out. Now that doesn't mean he wasn't ready to hit it. That looked like a high strike.
Sure did.
Ramon Santiago, an 0-1 count, and it's up and away, 1 ball and 1 strike. Santiago, as we mentioned, was within 1 of tying a career high 9-game hitting streak. Couple of balls hit very hard, but right at him last night. And a chance here tonight. He's 0 for 1 with a line out and a walk. Tardy on that fastball, and that was up in the zone.
Well, that's kind of really the pitch that you're looking for if you're Santiago, the ball that you can get at least into the outfield and drive 1 run in. You don't necessarily need a base hit here. You just need to get that runner in from third and maybe even advance the runner from second.
Santiago with runners in scoring position this year. 7 hits and 20 at bats. .350 average with 5 batted in. So not a lot of chances, but has done well in them. And he is hit on the foot to bring in a run. Well, you got to believe that's going to be all for Mr. Nelson.
Boy,
he is just coming apart at the seams here the last 2.
You wonder why he would even consider throwing anything but a fastball right there. I mean, he threw 2 pitches right by Santiago upstairs. And then he's asked to throw a breaking ball. And he's so worried about hanging that breaking ball that he buries it in the dirt. And it ends up hitting Santiago on the foot. Now that will be all for the young 25-year-old Jimmy Nelson. Not a bad job. He leaves with the bases loaded, nobody out on a 1-run ball game. This is our Skyline Call the Bullpen. We'll be back after this.
The Reds are down 3-2 after Santiago is hit on a 2-strike pitch to bring in a run. And now the Reds have the pitcher's spot coming up. Naturally, they will go to their bench as Brandon Kinsler will come on to pitch for Milwaukee. Look at that opponent's batting average against Kinsler this year.
The thing about Kinsler and the reason he's out there is that he's a ground ball pitcher. He gets about 58% of his outs ground ball versus fly balls. So the Brewers are hoping he gets a ground ball, turns into a double play. They'll give up a run, the tying run, and in order to get 2 outs right here.
If you're wondering about inherited runners and how many have scored, Kinsler has inherited 14 runners, half of them have scored. And it'll be it'll be Chris Heisey coming off the Reds bench. Well, momentarily there saw Mesoraco coming out of the dugout. Instead it is Heisey. And he's batting for Homer Bailey, who goes 6 innings, allows 4 hits and 3 runs. Nobody out, and they're loaded. And it's 0-2. Blasted into left field, caught, tagging and scoring the tying run is Pena. So Heisey gets the job done off the bench, and this game is tied at 3. That ball was stung.
What a rocket shot by Heisey. Kinsler laid one right down there for him on an 0-2 count. Let's take a look at this at bat again. It brought in the tying run. Breaking ball on the outside corner, chases one down and maybe out of the zone there. Armazda pitch by pitch and a rocket to left. Chris Davis comes over to make the catch. But it does result in the tying run. Armazda pitch by pitch.
So now Billy Hamilton with a go-ahead run at second base. Hamilton in the game, 1 of 3, singled, stole a base, scored a run in the 4th. Hit off the end of the bat, foul, 1-1. Hamilton has really come on strong in these situations as this rookie year has moved along. I mean, he has been deadly. And trying to continue those numbers right here and right now and break this 3-3 tie. Reds have scored 2 here in the 7th. Hamilton checking his back. Had a funny sound to it, but apparently no crack in there. 1-2.
You wonder if there's a way to explain Billy Hamilton's success recently with runners in scoring position. I mean, does he relax more? Does he get more strikes to swing at? Sometimes it seems like he chases balls out of the zone when he gets a little bit anxious up there. That doesn't happen as much when there's runners on base.
Ways off that pitch. Low and away, even a count of 2 balls and 2 strikes. Singles by Ludwig and Pena start the inning. Cozart trying to give himself up. Hit by a pitch. Santiago fell behind in the count. Hit by a pitch to bring in a run. That was all for Nelson. Sac fly by Heisey against Kinsler. And Hamilton, a soft liner, and where in the world are you going? Wow. Holy mackerel. possibly appear on Reds Live on Friday at the Reds Fan Camp. You can join us over at the Holy Grail at the Banks at 6 o'clock Friday night for all the fun.
Freeze on a line drive, and if you freeze after you've already been off of several stops, you think Zach Cozart's thinking, all right, I'm the go-ahead run. I want to get a good jump right here in case he gets a base hit. And his first movement took him away from the bag, and he will come out of the ballgame. Cozart will, as Santiago comes over from third base to shortstop, and Christopher Negron will take over at third.
Big Jumbo Diaz in this game will get set to square off with Lyle Overbay. Bailey, 6 innings, 4-hit, 3-run baseball, the identical numbers for the Milwaukee starter, Jimmy Nelson. Nelson fan 4, hit 3 batters, walked a batter. Bailey walked 2, hit a batter, and struck out 3. All 3 Brewers runs coming on solo home runs. Vaughn and Ramirez in the first, Lucroy with 2 outs in the 6th. But the Reds come right back to tie it in the 7th. And here we are in the bottom of the 7th, and Jumbo bringing it. Ooh, that's got some giddy up right there.
And some hair on it. See the movement on that ball?
Swinging a foul ball back out of play. That gives you an idea, Chris, of the impression Jumbo Diaz has made on Brian Price. When, again, taking advantage of an opportunity, as we talk about so frequently. Now, he doesn't have a lot of experience in this kind of situation. None at all at the major league level, as Overbay has gone swinging. So this is all brand new to him after waiting, over 12 years to get a chance even to pitch in a big league.
I think for Jumbo, he's just pitching baseball. He's not worried about the names on the uniforms or anything else, the situations that he is in. In spring training, Jumbo is more or less just a good human interest story. Got a guy that's still trying to chase the dream after so many years in the minor leagues, never a taste in the big leagues, lost a lot of weight in order to get down to fighting weight. And he was fairly impressive in the spring, especially with his fastball. But he went down and continued to impress down in AAA, and here he is, not only just on the ball club, but pitching in a tie game in the 7th inning.
If you weren't with us earlier, the Reds announcing before the game today that Logan Ondrusek was placed on the disabled list with some discomfort in his right shoulder. And we know about the ups and downs so far this year of some of the other right-handers down in that Reds bullpen. Really everybody in a Reds bullpen, with the exception of Broxton, Chapman, and for most of this year, LeCure has been very, very good. But outside of that, it has been a roller coaster ride. Curtis Parch was brought back from the minor leagues to replace Logan Ondrusek. Well, that is a power fastball. And down in the zone.
It's funny if you really pay attention to radar guns. I mean, really pay attention as to where the pitchers are located. The fastest pitches are always down low. Even though the old saying, the high hard one is the one you get them on.
Ran 2 on Segura, who's grounded out to shortstop and been hit by a pitch himself. Homer Bailey hit him right around that left forearm. Jumbo not afraid to throw that slider. 2-2. You know, the easiest thing in the world for a major league manager, especially a first-year manager, to do is to continue to hand the ball to guys with experience. Even if those guys that have experience are not getting the job done. On swinging on 97 up in the strike zone is Segura. And Brian Price is showing tremendous faith, quite honestly some guts, by bringing guys up from the minor leagues, and in this case a guy like Jumbo Diaz, and said, okay, here's your chance, young man, go get it. One more out to go. They'll send up a pinch hitter, Logan Schaefer. First pitch, he swings and pops it up and out of play. Boy, there is a wild one going on in Pittsburgh. The Pirates lead the Dodgers 8-7 in the 8th inning. And at last check, the Cardinals were getting drilled by Tampa Bay. 6-1 at last count. In near strike to get ahead 0-2. Soft liner right at the third baseman. That'll end the inning. Jumbo! The big fella getting it done. Schumacher to lead it off in a 3-3 game. Come to bat here in the top half of the 8th inning. And our John Morrell play of the game. Schumacher taking away a hit from Scooter Gennett in the 3rd inning. Gennett to lead this game with some tightness in his right thigh. Schumacher has made a couple of really nice plays tonight. Not only that one, but that smash off the bat of Aramis Ramirez, where the ball took the bad hop and almost hit him right in the mouth. Fielded the ball to start a double play.
Here's a play we're talking about, that wicked hop that it took right off the lip of the infield.
Saw Frazier immediately look over at him after he caught that relay throw and just pumping his glove right at Schumacher, who will face a new pitcher. Zach Duke, what a job he has done. We saw him in a Reds uniform for a very short time at the end of last year. Threw the ball well for the Reds last year. A lot of his career spent as a starting pitcher, of course, for many, many seasons with the Pittsburgh Pirates.
He has 169 games started in the major leagues.
Brandon Kinsler did an excellent job tonight. Faced two batters, got 3 outs. He allowed a sac fly to tie the game, but he walked in the toughest spot of all. Bases loaded, nobody out. 2-0 to Schumacher.
Talking to some of the Brewer people about what the secret has been for Zach Duke, and he's doing really two things, kind of combinations of. He's changing arm angles and he's changing speeds.
Breaking ball and a 2-2 pitch off the inside corner, so he's got to come in there with a strike now, or risk walking the leadoff man in a tie game of the 8th. And here comes a payoff pitch to Schumacher. We'll have to throw another.
That's a good spot for a fastball right there. The best fastball he threw in the entire at bat. It gets it right underneath the hands of Skip Schumacher for a strikeout. Duke is a guy that's been up and down in the minor leagues a lot. He spent parts of 10 seasons in the major leagues and 9 seasons in the minor leagues.
Breaking ball to get ahead 0-2 on Frazier. Frazier has not hit a ball out of the infield in the first 2 games of this series. 3 ground ball outs and a strikeout last night, hit by a pitch and a couple ground outs tonight. And he's gone on strikes. 2 away. And now Jay Bruce with 2 down and none on.
Changing speeds and also changing angles. He goes down low on that one, Duke does, and fires what looks like a little bit of a cutter in there at 88 miles an hour to blow it right by Frazier.
Strike 1. strikes out the side. Goes back, bottom of the 8th. 3-3 our score. You buy 4 tickets for only $48. You receive 4 free Reds hats. Reds and the Nationals the entire weekend. It's going to be a big weekend. It's supposed to be a beautiful weather weekend. So come on down to Great American Ballpark. Now the big man, Jonathan Broxton, following another big man, Jumbo Diaz.
Brian Price going to the heavyweights here in this ball game. Still tie ball game, bottom of the 8th. Broxton comes in 36 games for Jonathan. That earned run average almost all year long was under 1. It just recently popped over the 1.0 mark.
Here we go. Top of the order against Broxton here in the 8th inning. And first pitch swinging, as he likes to do.
That's a good spot for Carlos Gomez early. And you're almost dictated to throw him a breaking ball down and away because he's looking to pull a ball, especially in a tie ball game. I mean, he's looking to jerk one out of here to left field. If you miss your spot here, you want to make sure you miss it away and not where he just left.
He's got those hips, again.
Got those hips just ready to crank open. He starts with a little bit of an open stance, Gomez does, and never really does get squared up.
Beautiful breaking ball in the outside corner to get ahead.
Boy, is he geared for something inside or not? Now, maybe with 2 strikes. He'll change it a little bit, but that's the safest place to be against him.
High heat at 95 to put away Gomez. And that's the way it starts here in the Brewers' 8th inning.
Tell you what, 95, that may be the hardest pitch he's thrown all year long. Broxton, when he first came up and was with the Los Angeles Dodgers as their closer, he would routinely throw in the upper 90s. He's had some elbow problems along the way, but I think little by little that arm strength is coming back. Of course, started the year on the disabled list. Getting better and better.
Ricky Weeks only one at bat, and it was a big out for Homer Bailey. Brewers were leading 2-1 in the 5th inning. Bailey walked a batter, hit a batter with 1 out. And then with 2 away, he walked Carlos Gomez, bringing Weeks, who is in for the injured Scooter Gennett. Gennett having to leave the game with tightness in his right thigh. And now 2-0 on Ricky Weeks. Weeks hit a slow roller to the shortstop, Cozart. He threw him out for that final out in the 5th inning. Well, baseball's a funny game. I mean, the New York Yankees could do no wrong in that series against the Reds. They are playing the last place Texas Rangers. That's right. The Rangers are behind the Astros. Rangers beat them last night. It's a 0-0 game in the 11th inning tonight. 3-0 on Ricky Weeks. Weeks has always been a guy that will swing that bat on a 3-0 count through the years.
Well,
and he does so here.
You know, Ricky Weeks loves to hit a fastball. And there's no other count in which you're more guaranteed a fastball than a 3-0 count. And he also has the kind of power that can leave the yard. So why not give him the green light if he feels good about it? Let him rip.
Now you're facing the big guys. Braun is 2 out of 3. Homer down the right field line on a fastball away from Homer Bailey in the 1st inning. The front end of back-to-back home runs with a man on deck, Aramis Ramirez. Braun bounced to 3rd in the 4th inning, single to center in the 6th. We're wondering about Weeks. There was one time where he was very much a base stealing threat. Now 2 steals in 5 attempts. Just in case the Brewers have their closer getting ready in the bullpen. We saw him last night, Francisco Rodriguez. And they may well bring Rodriguez in either way, even in a tie game, as you will frequently see managers do when they're playing on the home front. But first things first, Broxton fell behind Weeks 3-0, allowed a hit, and now he's 2-0 on Ryan Braun. (3-0) on Ryan Braun. They give Braun the 3-0 green light. I don't think there's any doubt Braun can swing whenever he wants to swing. Braun, a former MVP winner. We've told the story many times that used to talk with Robin Yount about many things, and one of them about swinging 3-0. Robin Yount said it was by far his favorite count to swing more than any other count. 3-0. And there for strike 2. But at the very top edge of the zone, according to Fox Tracks.
The better pitch than the 3-0 pitch.
Do they start Weeks here? Got to believe they will. 3-2 on Braun. No, they don't. And that is strike 3 call.
Wow, not even taking the bat off of his shoulders. Well, that's a perfect pitch right there. After everything else against Braun and the at-bat was inside, Broxton goes out and he touches the black on the knees. Whoa, that's a big comeback right there.
Behind 3-0. All right, one more out to get here in this Milwaukee 8th, and it's not an easy one. Aramis Ramirez the batter. He is homered, grounded to short, and hit a ball hard that turned into a double play. There's that ball that took the funny hop, the big hop on Schumacher. In near strike 0-1 to Ramirez. Well, good news from the Reds locker room. We understand they went ahead and x-rayed the right hand, specifically 2 of the fingers on the right hand of Zach Cozart after he was hit on that pitch attempting to put down a bunt. The results are negative.
Good.
Very good news indeed. Well, thank God for that. All the injuries the Reds have had this year. Enough. 0-2 now to Ramirez. Try to get him to chase a fastball up.
It's funny how different hitters have different strengths. They've kept the fastball on Ramirez all night long after he hit that home run off of Bailey on a slider.
A lot of attention to Weeks over there now with 2 away in the inning. Well, you know, obviously Broxton's been at this for a long time. But Ramirez has got to find a gap to score Weeks from where he is right now. You throw one away at this point with 2 strikes and 2 outs on the batter, and a little flare will knock in a potential winning run. There goes a runner, and he's going to get there anyway. Broxton has many strengths as a pitcher. That doesn't happen to be one of them. There's no chance for Payne. He just stuck it in his pocket.
Oh, you're a setup man. You don't have anywhere near the number of running attempts on you than you do as a starting pitcher. A lot of times managers shut down the running game late in the game unless they've got a burner like Billy Hamilton, because they don't want to run themselves out of a potential game-winning inning. I think the Brewers right there felt that they had nothing to lose.
Two and two on Ramirez. Fly ball, shallow center. Hamilton is there, and a nice job by Jonathan Broxton, especially in that bat against Braun. Ludwig Pena coming up to start the inning. Visit your Tri-State Chevy dealer today. And by Cincinnati Children's Hospital, it ranks third in the country on U.S. News and World Report's 2014 Best Children's Hospitals in America. After every Reds game, including tonight, right here on Fox Sports Ohio, we'll break it all down. Jeff McCorrow, Brian Giesenslaw, Jim Day from right here at the ballpark, and Chris Welch. Brought to you by Performance Kings Honey. Try to always say hello to those that might be watching from Cincinnati Children's Hospital tonight. Hope you're having a good day and a good night. Francisco Rodriguez. That is 29th save. He's only blown 3 of them all year long. In a tie game, this is not a save situation.
Well, 48 games already for Francisco Rodriguez. I mean, they are leaning on their bullpen hard. Career, he's been around a long time. This is 778 games that Rodriguez has pitched in.
Zach Duke, a perfect inning, 3 strikeouts. And Ludwig to lead it off. Tardy on a fastball. Reds have double barrel action in their bullpen. The right-hander Sam LeCure, should this score remain tied at 3, and they have the main weapon out of that bullpen cranking it up from the left side, should they capture what would be their first lead of this game. And a broken bat roller to short. 1 out in the inning.
Next batter is the catcher, Brian Pena.
Now Brian Pena, the batter, 1 for 3. His line to right, bounced into a double play. Actually, not a double play. That was a ball that He lined back up through the middle to the pitcher, knocked down, and then it ricocheted to the second baseman, who threw him out. That was a final out in that fourth inning. And then Pena pulled one through the hole into right field. After the Ludwig single to start what would be the game-tying rally, scoring twice in the seventh inning. 2-0 to Brian Pena. Pirates finish off the Dodgers 12-7, a final there. 2-0 to Pena. And it's hooked down the right field line, just a little too far out in front of him. Off to the third base side this time by Pena. The count even at 2-2. Christopher Negron waits in the on-deck circle. He came off the bench to hit a home run to right center field off Smith, the left-hander, in the eighth inning last night. Three runs, 4 hits for the Reds. 3 runs, 5 hits for Milwaukee. We are in the top of the ninth inning. Just off the outside corner, maybe low as well. And the crowd in a foul mood already after what happened in the at-bat to Ryan Ludwig. Or rather, Ryan Braun, forgive me. 3-2 now on Pena. And banged into center field, a base hit. That should be maybe even 4 hits in a game tonight for Pena. There's a line out to right, that rocket through the middle that was knocked down, a single to right, and now a liner to center.
Well, on that at bat, Pena hit a foul ball to right, hit it pretty good down the right field line, hit it one down the left field line, foul, not too far, hit it pretty good, and then hits one right back up the middle. He's trying to spoil everybody's spray chart.
Negron only has 2 hits in 9 at-bats since being brought up from the minor leagues, but both hits are opposite field home runs. All over this.
He was really walloped this one. I mean, that was a beautiful swing by Negron. Looked like he picked it right out of the catcher's mitt. A deep part of the ballpark there as he went to right center field.
One 1-0 on Christopher Negron. High bouncer over the mound, waiting Segura, and he just does beat Pena to the bag. 2 out.
Number 7 is the shortstop, Ramon Santiago.
You know, you brought up earlier, Chris, how teams really shut down the running game, and it's hard to get a good sample size, even for a guy who's been around a long time, like Broxton for the Reds and Rodriguez. Both have been closers.
Well, he's been around 13 years, and they have thrown exactly 15 runners out attempting to steal. He's given up 79 stolen bases lifetime. So this year, they've not thrown a runner out trying to steal second base or third base, with Francisco Rodriguez out there.
And if you're wondering, now Negron, as he's gotten older, those stolen base numbers have come down. But he's had years of 31, 25, 27, 34. So obviously He's not afraid to pick him up and put him down.
Well, if you're a first base and you're not a Blazer, it's probably going to take you 2 hits to get him in. I mean, even a double, unless it rattles around in the corner somewhere, may not score in the grown from first base. That's one reason why they're throwing over. Shortened up his lead a little bit, not necessarily to pick him off.
Rodriguez has always had that big high, picks his leg high up into the air.
Might be a guy you take a shot at.
Yeah, for sure.
The worst thing that can happen is you're thrown out and you lead the next inning off with Santiago.
Well, Ramon giving him a chance. Saw him pick that leg up. It's not a slide step. Nowhere close to a slide step. But, of course, Negron has never seen Rodriguez. Oh, fortunate there.
That got in the groin, or either that or Overbay got him.
And immediately, Overbay looks into the Reds dugout and says, come out here. This may have bounced up and hit him in the face.
Oh, hit him in the back of the neck, back of the head.
Well, that's where he doesn't have a cover on the ear on that side. And it hit him right in the side of the head. That's why Major League Baseball is really continuing to push wearing flaps on both ears rather than a single flap, depending, of course, which side of the plate you hit from.
It does give you more protection, but how many times have you seen this? This is the first time I've ever seen it.
Yeah, but you know what they say? Somebody's number one. Or the one that you'll always talk about.
Yeah.
Thank God it doesn't look like that's the case here. But, I mean, you wear one ear flap. What's the difference if you're wearing another ear flap?
You're right.
Just put it on and move on. Christopher looks like he's okay.
I mean, if Negron goes down, the Reds are essentially out of infielders.
Yeah, and this is where, Brian Price was asked, you may remember, very early in the year. For all I know, it might have been Jim Day who asked him about it, that if you had to, would you put Billy Hamilton back in the infield in a game? He said, well, of course, if I had to, that's exactly what I'd do.
Right. Fortunately, that does not look like it's going to happen.
Oh, 2 on Ramon Santiago. Brewers will bat in the bottom of the ninth in a 3-3 game. His bullpen getting it done tonight. Some power arms coming out of that pen. Jumbo, 1-2-3-7 with a couple of punch outs. Broxton got Gomez on high heat. 2 batters later, Braun looking. They're falling behind 3-0. So 2 perfect, 2 innings, scoreless innings, 1 base runner. That was a 1-out single by Weeks in the 8th inning against Broxton. So here we are, 3-3. And the Reds will now hand it to right-hander Sam LeCure.
One of the reasons the Reds bullpen has been strong is that the work of their starters have limited the number of innings Brian Price has had to go to that pen. Sam LeCure has not given up a run since June the 24th, and he's only pitching 7 games in that period of time from then to now. 38th game overall. He has been pretty consistent all season long.
And one to Jonathan Lucroy, who homered back in the 6th inning. Will be followed by Chris Davis, and then the first baseman Lyle Overbay. They're at the bottom of the 8th inning in St. Louis. The Rays in front, 6-2 over the Cardinals. The Pirates have already beaten the Dodgers tonight. And here the Reds and the Brewers are tied at 3. Bottom of the 9th inning. This game is over. Rodriguez the winner, and the loser Sam LeCure. And this will naturally be our Nissan drive of the game. As the Brewers make the Reds losers for a 5th straight tie.
Lucroy has been mired in a horrible slump until his last 2 at-bats tonight. Both of those at-bats home runs. That's the game winner.
Season high 5 consecutive losses for the Reds. They slipped to 4.5 games back. That's the furthest they have been back in quite some time, since during that great homestand they had just before the All-Star break. Four 3 our final. Time for Reds Live, the post-game edition, coming right up.